Hello beautiful people, what it do, Sky Squad? Welcome and welcome back. And in this video we're going to talk about Lint the menace. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So Lint, if you've watched my last couple of videos, you already know that Lint has been getting on my nerves, has been bothering me. I've been calling Lint is a menace a million times. Lint is a menace. I'm not going to stop talking about it. It's driving me crazy. All of these fibers are driving me nuts. And I did get a question on how do we get rid of lint? That's what the girls want to know. That's what the guys want to know. That's what we want to know. How do you get rid of lint? What are the remedies? What's going on? So I'm going to talk about all the methods I know of. If I miss any, let me know in the comments, please. So yeah, so lint, basically, I consider anything that are fibers in the air, things floating in the air, off your clothes, off your linen, off your bedding, everything. Debris flying out, anything that can get caught in your locks and get embedded and stay there, and as a part of your lock. Now, a lot of reasons why I want to get rid of lint, because lint just doesn't look nice. It looks bad. It can really make your hair look dull, look dirty, look splotchy, just not a good look. Okay, so really we're going to talk about some things, and it doesn't matter what part of the lock journey you're on, I'm going to share some things with you at every stage. How does it even get trapped in locks? Well, you know, everyone wants to be a part of the cool kid crew. I feel like ever since my locks have gotten longer, anything and everything that could just brush upon it and chill with my locks does exactly that. So it just goes by, gets stuck. And even for starter locks too, you want to get in the habit of preventing lint, because even if you're not necessarily a major risk for lint to be super duper embedded, it can still happen. And especially if you're using those sticky, thick gels, you're making an area for where things can fly by and just stick to your hair. So even though it's not fully mature yet, it's still something you should be concerned with and already get in those habits. So then as your lock journey continues on, you're not freaking out when you have a whole head of lint in the back, wondering how you're going to get it out and try to get the tweezers and go down a bad path. So let's not do that. Okay, so here are some ways on how to remove lint, and then I'll tell you my favorite ways of just dealing with it in general. I think the first thing that everyone should really think about is wearing a satin scarf. You want to prevent lint from actually getting in contact with your hair in the first place. So really wearing a satin scarf or a satin silky bonnet when you go to sleep, very, very, very important. This is like prevention section. You want to prevent it from even being an issue, so you don't have to worry about it as much. I said this from the beginning of my lock journey, so it doesn't matter what stage of the lock journey you're in, starter, teen, mature, you do want to keep your locks covered. I kind of get lazy a little bit closer to the time of my wash day. I don't know why, but you really want to prevent that from even happening. Next, you want to brush your locks. Now, when you're in the starter lock phase, this does not apply to you, okay? But you do want to be mindful, and while you're already checking your locks anyway, while you're already all up in your hair anyway, if there's any lint that's just chilling out superficially on the surface, make sure you grab it and pluck it and get it out the way. You don't want it to where you're sleeping at night and you're rolling on your bedding, and that pressure and rolling is just embedding it into a part of your lock. And then for teen locks, you're probably more concerned with frizz than anything, which, by the way, don't cut your hairs, don't cut the frizz. Just palm roll or locksmith and get those hairs back in your lock. Thank me later. But you still want to be mindful, like, hey, when your locks mature, which will happen soon, you may want to consider brushing your locks in addition, just to make sure you can brush out any kind of lint or even other debris out. So even if some gets in, take it, brush it, cover your hair up as much as possible, or especially when you're sleeping, just to be safe and secure with that. Tweezers. Can we talk about tweezers for a minute? The reason why this is such a problem is because once you start tweezing, it's just really hard to stop. And I really think me tweezing lint out of my locks is what made me have more soft spots in my locks than I was really anticipating when I did my last lock trim. So use tweezers if you need to get a more pinpoint, precise on the surface, but when the lint is embedded, please don't do it. Just don't do it. If you can't get it out with your hands, it's too deep in there. It doesn't want to go nowhere. It doesn't want to leave. So tweezing, proceed with caution. Don't go too deep or anything like that. and that can be very helpful in the teen lock phase, mature phase. I don't really see this really being an issue for the starter locks, but you do want to catch lint before it becomes embedded and a part of your budding process, because no bueno. No bueno. So yeah, so be careful with tweezing. That can cause soft locks in your spots and end up, you know, have some of your locks drop. And if you're really going ham in there, you're just actually manually damaging your locks. Now the last little technique method is not actually removing anything, but it's just coping with it, and that means dyeing your locks. Yes, that's the tip. Dyeing your locks just help camouflages it. You know, it's already embedded in your locks at this point. That's when I really suggest this. If you already have lint already just embedded in your locks, it doesn't look nice, it doesn't look good, it irritates the hell out of you. Dye your hair. Now be careful when you do this, because depending on what method you choose, you could actually be doing more damage to your locks. Like if you say, okay, F it, I'm gonna just bleach my locks and do it that way. No, you are actually putting your hair through more things, more damage. So just be careful with that. But I like to use I have used a black semi-permanent color, and it acted as a rinse. So I didn't have to use any developer, I didn't have to use any bleach. It was just on the outer sides of my the outer strands of my hair shaft. And so it might fade over time, but I feel like since I'm not washing my hair every few days, you know, every week, I'm not doing all of that, I feel like the semi-permanent color will last a little bit better. And I think the Adore brand, which is what I use, doesn't fade as fast. So think about the technique you're going to use when it comes to dyeing, and that way everything can kind of be back on the same page versus you have your natural hair plus white lint or something like that embedded and messing up the look. So I really like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the different type of methods. When it comes to dyeing, really, you know, probably teen, maybe mature, I just really wouldn't do anything to starter locks. Like either do it before you're going to have starter locks or just wait it on out. But yeah. Alrighty guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the recent subscribers. Welcome to the Sky Squad. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the crew. And then if I had to really give you guys my suggestion on how to handle lint in your locks, it would be pick whatever lint that gets in there by hand. Avoid tweezers if you can. Mature locks, make sure you brush your locks. But no matter, regardless of the phase, cover your locks, especially at night. That's where a lot of lint happen, especially in the back here. You don't want that to accumulate. So really try to do as much prevention as you can. And if you already have some embedded, just go ahead, do like a black rinse or a dark dye all over to get everything back on the same page. That's what I did. I really like it. It's all one color and it just looks a lot more cleaner and sleek. But yep, that's my suggestions. I hope you guys like this video, and until next time, peace.